What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video, and there have been a number of recent announcements regarding new Star Wars comics that are coming out over the next few months, December, January, and I thought it was worth pointing some of these out. I don't do it for like every single new release that comes out, but I think that there's enough really interesting ones in this batch that I think are worth picking up. Certainly, I know one of them is, and I've already picked up one of them, but with the book of Boba Fett coming out, we saw the recent trailer that just dropped here a couple days ago, and there's a number of new kind of releases that are kind of tied, I think, to the book of Boba Fett that make a lot of sense to take a look at if you're a Star Wars comic collector. And the first one is Crison Reign. This one is scheduled to release on December 1st, and all the different covers are available for pre-order right now. And, if you guys saw Solo, a Star Wars story or whatever it's called, you guys remember Qi'ra, and that she's affiliated with Crison Reign, who's run by Darth Maul, who's apparently still alive. But Qi'ra basically is going to be the right-hand man for Darth Maul at the end of that movie. Spoiler alert. And so this is going to pick up, I guess, where that is. And so let's read the solicitation for Crison Reign. After the dawn comes the rain. The story that began with War of the Bounty Hunters continues here in the second installment of a trilogy that will reshape the history of the Star Wars galaxy during the Age of the Rebellion. And so it's going to be an interesting kind of second storyline now. The phase one was War of the Bounty Hunters, which kind of covered Boba Fett's adventures regarding Han Solo and Carbonite and kind of all the different factors and factions, that are in play to try and get that. Well, now that that's been resolved, apparently, we're going to go over to Crison Reign. So that's going to be the second of three different kind of big storylines. And so this is written by Charles Soule, as you can see here. And there are a number of really good covers. This is the standard cover right here, as you can see. The covers that I think are worth picking up, I haven't picked any of these up, for full disclosure. I haven't picked up any of them, but the ones that I like the best are this one here, which is the 1:25 ratio variant. That's a really nice cover. It's got Darth Vader in the background with all the TIE. It looks like TIE Defenders or some kind of TIE Advanced in the background. It's got Luke, Leia, Qi'ra, and then a number of different bounty hunters. It's got Dr. Aphra. It's got Deathstick, the newer bounty hunter that was just kind of part of the recent bounty hunters storyline, and a couple of other bounty hunters. So I think this is a really interesting cover. This is the 1:25 cover. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, obviously, since there's only one of these made for every 25 of the regular cover. That's my second favorite cover. My first favorite cover is this one. This is a really cool one. This is only available it's available online on eBay. And I think there's like 616 Comics or something like that has these available. They don't have many copies left. I did not pre-order this because it's it's a black cover and it's pretty expensive. Even raw, it's like 30 or 40 bucks for the Virgin and the trade variant together. But the reason I didn't pre-order is because it's got kind of a mainly all black cover. And so I think there's a lot of chance for like it being damaged and things like that. So I would rather pre-order. If I'm going to get this, I'm going to get it in a 9.8 grade already. But this one, what's unique about this one is that this is the first cover appearance of a new bounty hunter named Sear, S-E-A-R, like sear, burn your hands. I think that's who this is right here. I can't tell. It could be one of these two, but it's kind of cool. It shows like a reflecting in Darth Vader's mask. So this is, to me, the better one to get because it's a pretty limited print run. And this is available like this with the trade dress at the top or a completely virgin cover. So that's my favorite cover, and then the second favorite would be that one, the 1:25. This is a cool one too. This is kind of like the tarot card, not tarot cards, but the Sabacc cards with Qi'ra's face on there. So that's a really cool one too. But anyway, that's going to be the next big wave of Star Wars comics being pushed by Marvel. Now that the War of the Bounty Hunters series is over with, Crison Reign. So you can look into that if you want. I have not gotten any of them, but if you're interested in the big first appearance. Qi'ra is not, she's already appeared in comics, and I'm going to take you to that now. That's Solo, a Star Wars story, the actual movie adaptation. So that's the cover, the main cover for Solo, a Star Wars story adaptation issue 1. So that's where she makes her first comic book appearance. That goes for like 200 to 225 in a 9.8. And there's other cover variants for that as well. So these are all, this is the 1 in 50 ratio variant. That's very, very expensive. This is the 1 in 25 ratio variant. And then this is a Walmart kind of version of that same cover. It's got yellow text instead of the standard white text. So anyway, if you're interested in Qi'ra, that's the one to get, because all 4 of those different covers are very, very expensive, $200 plus in a 9.8, or you can get them raw, whatever works for your budget. So that's the first big comic coming out. Now, a little bit later on, we've got in January of 2022, we've got Martian Ro's origin story. Martian Row is the big villain within the Star Wars High Republic universe. I've got his first cameo appearance comic, both the regular and then the retail incentive cover, and I'll go over those in a second. But Charles Soule, who's obviously a big writer within the Star Wars universe, he's doing Crison Reign, and he's also doing this, which is Marchion Rose's origin, called Eye of the Storm. And so this is the new cover for Eye of the Storm #1, and I'll go over that in a second in more detail. But I think this is the one to absolutely get, because Martian Row, I've read all of the releases so far, the novels for the High Republic, and Martian Row is easily the coolest character. He's a really cool, dynamic, kind of complicated character, and I'm glad they're doing his origin story, because of all the characters, both heroes and villains, he's easily the coolest and has the kind of like the most interesting story. He's a kind of a conflicted person. It's hard to tell if he's a Chiss or not, but he looks like a Chiss with the blue skin, and he's got the cool helmet and all that stuff. So I went ahead and ordered this cover here. So I'm taking you now to League of Comic Geeks, which usually tracks previews and reviews for all the new books, and it shows you all the different cover variants that are available. This is the only cover that's been released so far, but I went ahead and released that one. There's going to be a 1 in 25 ratio variant, as well as another cover variant. I've already pre-ordered the 2 standard covers. I have not ordered the 1 in 25 yet, because it's pretty expensive and I want to see what it looks like first. But I went ahead and picked up the other 2 covers. I picked up 3 of each of those. So I think this is absolutely one to pre-order right now. You can pre-order it right now on eBay, I'm sure elsewhere, but I think that's going to be a really interesting kind of mini series of books there. I think there's 5 altogether, but that's issue #1. Now, if you're interested in Martian Row, here are the ones that you can choose from. So his first cameo appearance is in High Republic Adventures #1, which is by IDW, not Marvel. That's the standard cover, which I have. And then the more expensive one is this one, the 1 in 10 ratio variant by Yale Nathan. That's the 1 in 10 ratio. I've got both of those in a 9.8. And then his first full appearance is in this one, which is High Republic Adventures #2. I don't have any of these yet, but I do want to get that. The one to get is the 1 in 10 ratio variant by Nathan again. That's this one here. So that's his first cameo, and then first full appearance. And then if you want his first cover appearance, this is one I've talked about in the past. This is the Mike Mayhew High Republic #3, a really cool cover. So they came with a Virgin cover like this, the trade variant, and then there's also like a Shadow Virgin variant where it's darker. Those run, I'd say for the trade, you're probably talking $75 in a 9.8 grade. For the Virgin, about maybe a little under $100, $80 to $100. Or the Shadow runs a little bit above $100. So those are the different key issues there. And then he removes his helmet in High Republic Adventures #5, which again is by IDW. And then again, this is the origin comic that I think will be pretty highly sought after, and I'd recommend pre-ordering it now while it's still $4. So that's that. And that's, again, the retail incentive that we've already talked about. I've already talked about all that stuff. I don't know why I pulled it up twice, but one other thing I wanted to mention. So Crison Reign, I think, maybe will appear in the Book of Boba Fett. We all know that's coming out December 29th. As I mentioned already, the trailer just dropped. Honestly, I wasn't that impressed with the trailer. It looked kind of meh. But in the trailer, Boba Fett does mention there's a corporation that can make us really rich. And I don't know if they're talking about the Crimson Dawn organization, which again is run by Darth Maul, or if it's going to be a different one. But I will say this one book I think might be worth picking up is this one, Shadows of the Empire #1. I picked this up on Comic Link last month in a 9.8, and I only paid about $150 for it. But that's another criminal organization that is called Black Sun. That is run by Prince Zizor in the old novels, the Shadows of the Empire novels, as well as there's a comic book. So Shadows of the Empire #1 is the first comic book appearance of Prince Zizor, the head of the Black Sun crime syndicate. I don't know if they'll bring that back or not. That might just be dead and gone. We'll never hear about Black Sun ever again. But I think that he's such an interesting character and he looks cool that I think it's worth grabbing that now because who knows what Boba Fett is referring to in that trailer. But he mentions this corporation could make us all rich. And so they could be talking about Crimson Dawn, or they could be talking about Black Sun, or they could be a totally different organization that Boba Fett is starting. Who knows? You know, he might be starting like another bounty hunters guild or something like that. That's something that's been in past novels. But I think it's worth picking this one up. And I've talked about it already, but I would grab that if I were you all. Shadows of the Empire #1. You can get it for, you know, as little as 100. Maybe you might, if you're patient in an auction, you might be able to get it for under $150. But they've been selling for around 200 in a 9.8 grade, or go for lower grade. You know, that's another option. So that's a side note I wanted to at least get out there and make sure that people consider. But anyway, some other solicitations. This is from Games Radar is really good about new solicitations each month for every kind of comic, but they usually have a separate Star Wars one. And so here are a few others that are coming out that, you know, we already talked about Crimson Reign. So it's going to be a 5-part series, but Crimson Reign #1 comes out December 1st. High Republic Trail of Shadows, that's going to be the 3rd issue. The first issue's already come out, but that's kind of an interesting one within the High Republic universe. I grabbed the couple of cover variations for Trail of Shadows #1, but that's covering like an investigation where it's got a new character that's a private investigator along with a new Jedi. They're kind of working together within Starlight Beacon to try and figure out a crime that's happened. So it's really cool. Here's another interesting one. This is High Republic #12. It's got Lorna D on the cover. She's another big villain within the High Republic universe. She's basically the right-hand woman to Martian Row. She's got a really cool outfit, and she's a Twi'lek. So that's another one to consider if you want a really cool cover with Lorna D on the cover. Star Wars #20. That kind of takes place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So it's kind of a separate, you know, storyline going on. Another interesting one is this one, Darth Vader #19. That's going to tie into the Crimson Reign storyline. So I guess we're going to look at the Crimson Reign activities in that series, but we're going to look at how Darth Vader and the Emperor are combating Crimson Reign's kind of reemergence within the Darth Vader comic series. So Darth Vader #19, and it's got an awesome cover. That's Darth Vader #19. I don't know if there's another cover or not, but it looks like the only one right now. But anyway, so that's a really cool one. And then Bounty Hunters #19, that's another comic series. That's going to be within the Crimson Reign universe also. So they do a really good job, the Marvel Star Wars. You got Bounty Hunters, you got Dr. Aphra, you got Darth Vader, and then you have the Crimson Reign line. And they do a good job of trying to intertwine all of those within the same kind of storyline or universe. So that's kind of cool. The Dr. Aphra one does not tie into Crimson Reign yet, but I imagine they will, because Crimson Reign #1, if you look at this 1 in 25 cover, it's got Dr. Aphra on there. So I imagine if it's not going to be in Dr. Aphra #17 in December, but I bet in December, in Dr. Aphra #18 starting in January, I bet we'll start seeing a reference to Crimson Reign within the Dr. Aphra comic series. So anyway, just some ideas out there for those of you that collect Star Wars comics. There's a lot of really cool ones that are coming out here in December and January, but my pick personally is definitely the origin for Marchion Row coming out in January, called Eye of the Storm. So, but Crimson Reign looks really cool too. I might pick up some of those too. I haven't decided yet. Anyway, if you're into Star Wars comics and you're new to the channel, welcome. I try to do a comic video, not all the time. I mainly focus on action figures, obviously, on the channel, but when I have interesting information or interesting new releases, I like to talk about it. But consider subscribing if you're new, and to all my existing subscribers as well as my Patreon supporters. As always, thank you for watching and for the channel support. I will be back soon with probably an update on what's been going on Hakes. There's been a lot of really cool items that are selling this evening, November 3rd, on Hakes that are way outside of my budget, but we'll cover some of the really cool ones in a video later this week. Thanks again, and I'll be back soon.